Okay, good morning again. This is Geraldine Weiser. I'm the Director of Business Development here at Corporate College, and I personally want to welcome you to today's session. As we wait for the presentation to start, I wanted to let you know that after today's session, a copy of the presentation will be emailed to you along with our survey. We're really looking for your valuable feedback. So thank you in advance for doing that. Also, just as a reminder again, if you haven't already, please go ahead and do an audio check right now. Again, especially if you can see me talking but can't hear me, please check your audio controls and your volume settings because we want to make sure that you are able to fully participate. Today, as far as participation, everyone is muted, but we really look forward to your messages and comments, questions in the chat box. And even though your chat messages will not be displayed for all the attendees to see, Mike, Dawn, and I will be able to view them. So we really want to hear from you, and we will be, Mike will be responding to as many of the questions and comments during the presentation as possible. And again, upon the conclusion, we'll have time for Q&A. So we really want you to be ready to chat. We definitely want your participation. So again, if you haven't already, find your chat box, go ahead and make sure that the arrow is pointing down. Click on the arrow next to chat, make sure it's expanded. And also, if you can check the address box in the chat box and make sure that it's set to all panelists. There are a couple selections, but if you make sure that it's set to all panelists, Dawn and I can make sure that we support Mike and make sure that we get as many comments and questions as possible. All right. So with that, I want to again say good morning to everyone and thank you for joining Corporate College's webinar series, Live with the Experts. We look forward to providing really relevant information and tools, topics, everything to support you and set you up for success. We find each day many businesses are shifting to a new reality and remote learning and remote working. So here at Tri-C, we're really committed to serving you at this time of rapid change by providing actionable resources to help you and your team succeed and thrive wherever your team is located, whether it's still at the workplace or remotely. Our webinar series is one of Corporate College's newest resources to prepare the workforce to overcome challenges and achieve both personal and business goals. Our series is composed of 4 different themes right now. Today's session is actually related to virtual leadership. Some of the other sessions focus on working remotely, navigating a transition, and also personal health and well-being. And as many of you know, Corporate College has a very distinguished and talented team of facilitators and subject matter experts. Today, I'm so pleased to introduce our presenter and facilitation specialist, Mike Wanqua. Mike is fantastic. He knows firsthand how necessary, clear, and effective communication is. Um, First, he trained and was mentored by John Maxwell. Mike is also an executive director of the John Maxwell team, and he is equipped with all the tools, resources, experience to help you and your team improve your productivity, performance, and profitability. Mike also put that directly into practice during his 26 years at the Intel Corporation. There, he served as a mentor, led various sales, marketing, IT, technical teams, and taught in their Intel University. Since then, Mike serves as a senior pastor and has also launched his own leadership and personal development practice. And we couldn't be more thrilled to have Mike on the Corporate College team. So with that, I am so excited to present to you Mike Wanqua. Hi, Mike. How you doing this morning?
Hi, Geraldine. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Really appreciate it.
Sure,
And
sure. Well, we're very excited to hear from you.
very good, very good. And welcome again, everyone. I am so excited to be with you today. You know, this is right in my wheelhouse. I really love teaching leadership and personal growth. And to become an effective leader, you really need to be an effective communicator. And to be an effective communicator, you really need to connect with others. Understand the lens I look through. So whenever I teach, it comes from a leader's lens or a leadership trainer, consultant lens. And as we talk about leadership, and we're going to talk a lot about connecting with others, but as we talk about leadership, understand that the first rung of leadership, there are five rungs as you climb a ladder. And the first one is the position leadership, and that's based on rights. That means you have the right to lead or the authority to lead, but it doesn't make you a great leader. It's the position leadership, and people follow you because they must. It's their job to follow you. That's an entry level position. But the second rung of the ladder, the second one is permission leadership. Permission leadership. That's based on relationships. People follow you because they like you. They want to follow you. They give you permission to lead them. That's a good place to be, but there are three more rungs. And the third one is production leadership. Production leadership. And that's really based on results. You're able to deliver the goods and people follow you because you could take the organization from one place or the other. You're able to deliver. Production leadership is good, but there's two more as we climb higher. And the fourth one is people development. People development. And people follow you because of reproduction. You're able to help them grow, able to help them develop. But the fifth one is pinnacle, pinnacle at the top. And that is based on respect. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. You've seen leaders leave one corporation, go into another, and oftentimes there are several people that follow them. The pinnacle leader is the type of leader that can tell someone, I'm going to start a new organization. They say, okay, I'm in, I'm with you, let's go. By the way, what is it we're going to do? Because they trust that leader. So as we get ready to talk about becoming an effective leader, you must be an effective communicator. And to be an effective communicator, you need to connect with others. So many of you are on the call, you're on the webinar, using the chat window. Tell me, what is it you want to accomplish today? We'll monitor the chat. What is it you want to accomplish today? We getting any feedback, Geraldine?
Yes, we have a lot coming in. So we have a number of people that are kind of new to a leadership role. So, and um, so I'm saying, how do you communicate kind of that change in your leadership role? Oh, and Mike, real quick, I didn't know if you had advanced to the next slide.
I have not.
There we go. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So yeah, this one gal is asking about, how critical it is, and she wants to make sure that transition, that she's, using her new powers in the right way.
Great, using her powers in the right way. And thank you for that. I think that's a nice segue into what I want to discuss next. And that is leadership is all about influence, right? Not manipulation, not coercion, but influence. And I like what Harvard Business Review had to say. Harvard said that the number one criteria for advancement and promotion for professionals is the ability to communicate effectively. I believe this. You see, let's rewind the clock about 30 years ago when I was in college. And Intel came looking for an intern. I was in engineering school. They were looking for an intern. And you had to have a 3.0 just to interview. So I had that. And there were several others. So they narrowed it down to 6 people. And then of the 6, we went through the first round, and then it was 2 left. it was the class valedictorian and me. Hey, they were looking for a technical sales engineer. The technical piece, the valedictorian could run circles around me. The engineering piece, he was a better engineer. So I had to focus on the sales aspect. So I worked on my communication skills. And to make a long story short, I got the job because they needed me to connect with the customers. So when Harvard says that the number one criteria for advancement is being able to communicate effectively, I've lived that from engineering school and throughout my career. And I believe that if we all could communicate more effectively, it would allow us to be able to lead more effectively. Now, we're going to have 5 principles that I will talk about. 5 principles of connecting. And depending on the time we have left, we'll talk about 5 practices. But let's go right into principle number 1. Principle number 1 for connecting is connecting increases your influence in every situation. In every situation that you're in, connecting increases your influence. Go ahead and say it to yourself. I believe if you say the words, it will reinforce itself into your mind. Connecting increases your influence in every situation. Think about when you met someone for the first time. And this particular person, there's an immediate connection between the two of you. You may not know why, but there's something about that person that attracted you to them. Those of you who can remember, go ahead and put their name in the chat window. I want to check to make sure you remember, and I want to invoke this emotion or the thought of that first time connecting with that particular person. And as you're thinking about that person, think about how much influence do they have with you? Not influence over you that can make you do anything, but at least, for example, if they said, look, I bought this nice scarf in J.C. Penney, you should go check it out. At least you would give it consideration. My kid is taking piano from Dr. Such and such, or I put my son in AAU basketball. This is a great coach. Go ahead and contact this person. And because the two of you connected, at least you're willing to listen. Now think about that person who you did not connect with well. And for whatever reason, it was negative energy and you two were repelled from one another. Now you don't have to write that person's name down, but think about that. You know, I've been in a situation where I attended a seminar and this person was a great presenter and I wanted to connect with the person and I went up after the meeting to have a conversation, but there was something about that person that just repelled me away and I turned and got out of the line before I got to that person. I found out later that his character wasn't that good and that's a major turnoff for me. So that particular person, no matter how great his presentation was, no matter how great his cause was, because we could not connect, he had no influence over me. So when you are able to connect, it increases your influence in every situation, even with your friends, even in business, no matter where it is. Your connection increases your influence. So those of you who want to lead better or become a leader, being able to connect with others will increase your leadership capacity. Now, that person that you wrote down who you connected with, would you say they that they appeared to be kinder than some others? That they appeared to be more thoughtful? That they appeared to be more trustworthy? And because they are kind, thoughtful, and trustworthy, they have more influence with you. And the same goes for you. As you're reaching out to connect with others, they will see you as being kind, thoughtful, trustworthy, Your influence with them will increase as well. And we're talking about authentic, ethical influence, not manipulation or coercion. I want to be very clear about that. But your connecting increases your influence in every situation. Let me think about or share with you an example of 16,000 executives. Now, these are people who have, air quotes, arrived. They already have a leadership position. Remember, the leadership position is the first rung of the ladder. So think about the high achiever, those executives who are delivering the goods. They care about the profits, but they also care about the people. They are able to balance. They understand they must deliver, but they also understand that they cannot deliver without the people. So they make sure the people have what they need to get the job done. Now, the average achiever, they're really concentrating on the production. They want to deliver the goods. If the people come along, great, not that big of a deal for them. They're trying to hit the number. And the low achievers, again, we're talking about executives, those in leadership position, are too preoccupied with themselves and their own security. And because of their own security, they have a basic distrust of those that report to them. It reminds me of King Saul, who had promoted David to be the commander of his army. But because the people saw that Saul had slain his thousands and David his tens of thousands, his jealousy arose and he began to distrust David and tried to take David out. The average achievers, they focus more on what's in it for them, their own status. But the high achievers, they understand that the people are there to help all of them accomplish the mission. So they believe in the people and they try to invest in the people to help grow their people. And as a result, they seek advice from those that report to them. In my own organization and when I served in corporate America and even leading congregations, I knew that I didn't know everything. So I needed to rely on their expertise. And that's what high achievers do. The average achiever, they're reluctant to ask for advice from those that report to them. No, I got to be the leader. I've got to be the one that looks good. I have to be the one with all the answers. And that's why they are average achievers. And the low achievers, they don't want to hear anything from anyone. Matter of fact, during times of crises, they are the ones avoiding communication. Hey, look at the policy manual, go to HR. They don't want to talk. So the average achiever only listens to superiors. They want things to flow down and they are a conduit to share it with others, but they don't want it coming up. But the high achiever listens. They listen well to everyone. They understand that good information can come from above, from peers, from those that report to them, from constituents, from people in the community. They are high achievers because they're able to listen to everyone, connect well with everyone, and able to communicate to everyone. We want to be like the ones on the left side. The high achievers understand the second principle. The second principle, which is connecting, is all about others. Go ahead and say it to yourself again. Connecting is all about others. See, this is not for the immature person because the immature person usually is insecure. And because they're insecure, it has to be all about them. And as a result, they cannot connect with others. And if you cannot connect with others, then the challenge is how can you communicate effectively? And if you cannot communicate effectively, you cannot lead effectively. So if we're going to learn how to lead well, we have to learn how to connect well. And to do that, it has to be about the other person. Remember earlier, I asked you to think about the person that repelled you away because they did not connect. they're not able to have influence with you. I'm reminded of a person that wanted to connect with me, and I made myself available. And that person came and they talked on and on and on and on and on about what they've done, what they're going to do, their accomplishments, et cetera, et cetera. It was all about them, but they wanted to connect with me. So if they wanted to connect with me, it would have been great to find out if I was even interested in what they had done. So when you go out to connect with others, to communicate well with others, and to connect, talk about what's on their mind. Ask them about themselves. You're looking for common ground that the two of you can really relate to. So when you're connecting, it really has to be about the other person. Let me give you an example. Here are questions that every leader should ask. Every leader, because people you're leading are asking the questions of you anyway. People are asking, does that leader care for me? Can that leader help me? Do I trust that leader? So these are questions that each of us as leaders should be asking, because this will allow us to connect well with others. Do I care for them? And that's a compassion question. I like let me read a quote to you, I forget his name, Les Giblin. Les Giblin, he was a national salesperson of the year once upon a time. He said, you cannot make the other fellow feel important in your presence if you secretly feel that he is a nobody. In other words, it's authentic compassion. I like what Pavarotti said. He says, some people want the audience to love them, but I love the audience. That great opera tenor said that. So folks want to know, people want to know, do you really care for them? And it's a question that we must ask ourselves. But not only that, now that I know that I care for them, if I really do, they want to know, can I help them? Do I have the competence to lead them, to help them, to give them what they need? It's a competence question. And it doesn't mean that I must hands-on help them. It may mean I need to connect them with someone else or point them in the right direction. Do I care? Do I have compassion? Can I help them? Do I have the competence? And then thirdly, can they trust me? Now this is foundational. Can they trust me? It's a character question. I was in an organization once, and the person I was reporting to, I believe he had compassion. Some may question that, but I believe he had compassion and he had the competence. So I believe he cared. I believe he could help. But where we fell out was I could not trust him because his character was unsavory and he lacked integrity. And as a result, I ended up leaving the organization because the character wasn't right. So if we're going to be in a leadership position, if we're going to communicate effectively and connect with people, we must have compassion, we must have competence, and our character must be right. Now, those are three foundational things. Perhaps you can think of one more that you would add to the list using the chat window. Could you add another? Any other thing? Compassion, competence, character. And of course, communication. We have to be able to communicate our compassion, competence, and character. But using the chat window, if you can think of one more, please add it. Please share. Open to change and new ideas. Okay. Integrity, absolutely. Integrity, a part of having a character. Consistency, yes, yes. That builds trust when the leader is very consistent. Thank you for sharing. Credibility, having competence and having a sound character leads to credibility. Accountability, effective listening. Part of communication is being able to speak and being able to receive. Yes, yes, great. Empathy. Let's not forget about empathy, a part of compassion. So great information you're sharing. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Treat everyone equally. All right. Thank you. Good information. Good information. Let's get to the third one. We've talked about two things already regarding connecting, and let's give you another one. Principle number three. Principle number three says that connecting goes beyond words. It goes beyond words. Look, it's been proven that when we connect, 7% of communication, talking about communication, and 7% is based on our words, what we say. 38% is based on how we say it, our tone of voice. 55% is based on, what do you think it's based on? Use your chat window. What is the 55% based on? We have 7% what we say, 38% how we say it. What about the remainder, the 55%? What do you think? Ah, Kim, good answer. Yes, yes. Sherry, yes, that's correct. All right. Yes. Okay. Good answer, Kendra. All right. Many of you are giving the right answer. And I would tell you, it's based on our body language. Our body language. What we say, how we say it, and what our body is saying. See, understand this. Watch my body language even through the camera. Because even through technology, we are still communicating with our body. If I say to you, you know, I really like you, you're a good friend, I really like being in your presence, and I just love it when we're able to connect. You heard my voice, but you saw my body where I wasn't making eye contact. So even though my voice was saying, I like you, my body was saying, I don't have time for you. But when we're connecting, we have to realize we have to connect with our entire being, our totality. Let me share an example about connecting going beyond words. There's this singer, I mean, a great singer, and he was having a concert. And in this concert, he sung, he sang, and he sang, and he sang. And when he finished, as per his custom, he says, "Is there a request?" And in the request, this group of people stood up. They stood up. Now, someone's asking me to share the percentage again, so let me pause my story. In the bottom left of the screen, you'll see the percentages 7, 38, and 55%. The 7% are the words we say. The 38% is how we say it, or the tone of our voice. And 55% is based on body language, our movement, our gestures, 55%. So the singer, the great baritone voice, the star performer had finished. And a group of people, about 30, stood up. So he called on them, and the spokesperson for the group said, "Yes, yes, we have a request. Our matriarch, our mother, grandmother, great grandmother for some, has just turned 100 years old. And her favorite song is Amazing Grace. And we want to know, can you just finish with that particular song?" And the baritone, the great performer, said, "Absolutely." So he called the 100-year-old up on stage, and they help her get up there. And now she's on stage seated, and he wants everyone to watch her as he sings the song. And he started singing the song, and he sang and he sang, and all of the words were perfectly aligned. He hit all of the notes and did a great job that at the end he had a standing ovation. Great job he did. But then he looked at the lady before it was time to go and said, "It's your favorite song?" And she just nodded. "You sing the song a lot?" And she nodded. And at this time, she was given the mic, and he said, could you just honor us and sing the song before we leave?" And she nodded. She took the mic, and the mic was shaking, and she began to rock back and forth. And in that squeaky old voice, she sung the song. She sang the song. And at the end of the song, there was not a dry eye in the place. When he finished singing, everyone clapped. She finished singing, everyone was in tears because she lived the song she sang. She sang the song with her entire body, with her entire being, and everyone was able to connect with her, connect to her. She connected to them. They felt what she felt. They experienced what she experienced because connecting goes beyond our words. So when we're connecting, understand that people see what they see. We're connecting with our body. People hear what they hear. We're connecting with our mouth and their ears. But let's not miss the other two. What people understand, they connect with us intellectually, and how we make them feel. They connect with us emotionally. The lady on stage connected. They were able to connect with her from what they saw, what they heard, what they understood, and what they felt. And as you're out trying to connect with people, remember connecting goes beyond what we say. And even on a conference call, it's important to have a smile on your face. It's important to have positive body language, energy, because that gets communicated through your tone of voice. Connecting goes beyond mere words. All right. People may not always remember what you say. They may not always remember what you do, but they will remember how you made them feel. And great connectors understand the head and heart connection. Let me move to the fourth point, unless there are any questions that I need to address now.
Well, Mike, this is Jerry. There is one question that might be best answered now or maybe coming up, but I have a question here about a supervisor uh, who's really in that awkward position right now where the company is asking them to downsize and they have to look at their team and select, a couple of those team members to actually be laid off. What happens to their trust and compassion and how do you connect, how do you properly convey that now to try to maintain that trust and compassion?
Yes, yes. Especially in this time that we're in, people know that bad news is coming. And one of the things that we have to do, that we must do as leaders, is be very authentic, right? We can't sugarcoat it, we can't hide the information. First thing is we show compassion, that we really care about the person. And let's use in round numbers. Let's say we have 10 people and we have to let 3 people go. And because we care doesn't mean that we cannot let them go. If the company has said we only have budget for 70% of the people and 30% must be cut, we show compassion and we let them know that we care about them, and we would do well to prepare for that by talking with HR, others, to find out what other things can we offer to them to make this transition as easy as possible. Not simple, and it's not easy, but as easy as possible. So we're showing compassion that when they go, if there are some things that we can offer them, some leads that we can give them to go elsewhere, monies that we can make available, the Cobra plan, et cetera, what can we offer them to help ease this transition? That's the first thing. And then from a competency standpoint, we have to let people know, even though we're losing those 3 people or 30%, if I am a part of the 70%, I'm wondering, how are you going to lead us? How are we going to get the job done with less people? Now we have to be reassuring at that point to let folks know, hey, with the remaining people, so that we can keep the organization thriving, we need to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. And here's what the vision is for the future. Here's what we need to look like. Here's what we need to do today to make sure we have a successful tomorrow. And if we do everything well enough and we start back growing, there's a possibility we may be able to bring some of the others back. And then above all, people want to trust you. They know you have to make difficult decisions, but they want to believe that they can believe in you and those that are remaining that you believe in them. But the number one thing you can do, even though you have to lay people off, is to communicate authentically and communicate your compassion, communicate your credibility. Let folks know it's not something you want to do, something you must do. And the worst thing, again, I talked about it earlier, the low achievers, they get out of the limelight. They don't want to communicate bad news. They don't want to be out front. But real leaders are out front. I like what the governor said yesterday. I may not always agree with his politics, and that's a different story for a different time. But there are lots of things he has done that I do agree with. And one of the things he said yesterday was the buck stops here. So whether it's good or bad, he's communicating and he takes ownership of what he's had to do. And I think even in bad times, we have to take ownership, be accountable and responsible, and communicate with empathy. And I think that's what we have to do. Of course, it goes a lot deeper than that. And if we want to talk more, send a note to Geraldine and we can talk more about it. But that's what I would share at this point. And know this, which brings me to the fourth point. The fourth principle is that connecting always requires energy. So that supervisor, what I'm asking you to do requires a lot of energy to make that connection. I was given a team in Taiwan, a team of technical people that I would lead. And I could have easily stayed in the United States or Ohio in particular and led from afar. But I wanted to really learn them and connect with them that I spent a summer in Taiwan and immersed myself into the culture. I need to learn their societal culture as well as the work culture of being in Taiwan, Intel Taiwan. And I had a friend there that was already on the team who agreed to sponsor me or to host me, I should say. And he helped me. I even took Mandarin courses. Now, I didn't learn to speak it well, but folks saw that I was trying to really connect with them by being there with them. Did I mess up? Quite often I did. I fell on my face a lot. But because I put in the energy to try to connect, I was given a break. I was given a pass on some things. But I did not wait for them to come to me to try to connect to me. I went to them. Look, as an example, let's say that you're an executive, you're a leader, you have a manufacturing floor, you're going to the production floor, the factory. And once you go there, you do these five things. One, you're going to the factory floor because you want the factory to make sure it's delivering the goods, and to make sure it delivers the good, the people need to be healthy. They need to have everything they need. So you're going to do a survey to find out what they need, how you can help. So you take the initiative. Whenever you're walking through a factory floor, most people will not come up to you if you're the leader. You're the one that who want to make the connection. So you go to them, you go first. And you must be clear about what you want to accomplish. So you prepare beforehand. And then when you get there, you're talking to them. What do you need? Any recommendation? What can we change to make things better for you and to improve the factory? And get this, connecting requires that we have patience, that we slow down. I'm the type of person that, hey, I want, give me this, give me this, give me that. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. But it requires a lot of energy to be able to slow down and go at the pace of another. In Taiwan, because English was a second language, I had to slow down and wait for them to get it out as they're translating in their head to talk to me. And when you're connecting with others, we need to go at their pace. We're the ones trying to connect. And then we give selflessly. We give of ourselves. We give our attention, our ears, our heart, our mind to the person we're trying to connect to. Remember, people won't always remember what you say or what you do, but they will remember how you made them feel. Did you take the time to give of yourself to connect? And because connecting requires so much energy, it's so important that we take the time to recharge. Stephen Covey, in his book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, wrote, the last habit, sharpen the saw, which means that after you've done all that you need to do, you must take a break. You need to re-energize, sharpen the saw, and then you can come back for more. So because connecting requires so much energy, taking the initiative by going first, having clarity by preparing beforehand, slowing down or speeding up to match the pace of another, giving of yourself, you must recharge so that the next day you can do it again and the next day again. So connecting requires energy. I want to get to the fifth principle. And that fifth principle is connecting is more of a skill than a natural talent. Some people believe that they're just naturally gifted people. They believe that folks are just born with the ability to communicate and the ability to connect or even the ability to lead. But let me share an example of Warren Buffett. Some of you know Warren Buffett. He's probably the second, well, top 5 billionaire in the world, right? And he's an investor. But Warren Buffett was fearful, absolutely terrified to speak in public. He has a degree from the University of Nebraska, from Columbia, but neither of those degrees does he hang on the wall. The one diploma he has on his wall is that he took a public speaking course from Dale Carnegie, and that's what's hanging on his wall, even to this day. And to make sure he didn't lose what he learned, he signed up to teach the course himself. Now he speaks to millions of people, and he's quite gifted at it. But he put in the work. He took the course. Maybe some of you don't know Warren Buffett. Maybe you know Les Brown. Les Brown was labeled educationally as being mentally retarded. They said he couldn't learn. He couldn't speak well. But Les Brown ran into a teacher that said, don't let other folks label you. Don't let people label you, Les. You can do a lot more than what they said you can do. So he started learning. He started investing in himself. He got a job at a radio station cleaning floors and said if he ever got a chance to be a DJ, he knew what he was saying. He kept rehearsing. And one day his break came. The DJ didn't show up. The boss called and said, hey, Les, just play the music. Don't say anything. He said, okay. But soon as he got on the station, he said what he said, and it was so clear, the ratings grew, and he became a permanent DJ. He went on to become a TV host. And now Les Brown is known as the top 5, one of the top 5 motivational speakers in the world. Okay, maybe you don't know Warren Buffett, maybe you don't know Les Brown, but I bet you know Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was not a natural speaker. Steve Jobs, before every presentation, would spend hour upon hour rehearsing until he got it just right. Hours. And if you've ever seen Steve Jobs present, you would think he was a natural speaker, but he put the work in. What am I saying? I am saying that connecting is more of a skill than a natural talent. And that means that if we're willing to put in the work, we can learn how to communicate very effectively and learn how to connect well. Because connecting is a skill, more of a skill than a natural talent. That means it's learnable and it's teachable. Learnable and teachable. If you have trouble connecting, here are 5 things that we can do. 5 things. First one is use our relationships, who we know. If I want to connect with person A, but I don't have a relationship, but I have a relationship with person B who has a relationship with person A, I use that relationship to get me in front of person A. But once that person opens the door, I still need to do the work to make the connection. But that's one factor for connecting. Another factor is insight, which is what we know. So the first one is who we know. Number two is what we know. If I'm good, if I have expertise in a certain area, maybe others will want to connect with me to tap into my expertise. All of us should be an expert or gifted in at least one area. Number three is success, which is what I've done, right? I've achieved in one area, and as a result, other people that have achieved in other areas may want to connect just to compare notes. Who I know, what I've done, what I can do. What I can do. People will want to connect. Look, professional athletes and movie stars, singers, because of what they have the ability to do, folks want to connect with them. Think about Michael Jordan or LeBron James, the greatest basketball player ever. You take your pick, whether it's Michael Jordan or LeBron James. It's LeBron. But whoever it is, let's say Michael Jordan, he made more in endorsement because of his ability to play basketball. Same with LeBron, he's doing much more in endorsement than he did playing basketball. Why? Because of his ability in one area, open the doors for connection in other areas. And then our last factor, the fifth factor, is sacrifice, how you've lived. If you ever gone through anything, if you've ever fallen and you've had to humble yourself and pick yourself back up and dust yourself off and go forward, people can relate to that. And because they can relate to that, they can relate to you, which strengthens the connection. Now, I'm sure there are many more factors, but those are five that we can use to connect. Now, I just went through five principles. And I want to just quickly do a quick exercise because I'm going to walk through the five practices and then I want to leave time to go through questions. I'm going to show you a picture for 5 seconds. And I want you to write in the chat box very quickly what you see. 5 seconds, I will show this. Are you ready? 5 seconds. Okay, get your fingers ready. Here we go, 5 seconds. What do you see? All right, please put that in the chat box and let us know what you see. All right, keep going, keep going. Very good. All right. All right. Very good. Very good. We're getting a lot of feedback. And most of the people see, let's put it back up. Most people see two people facing each other, but some saw the urn. Do you see the urn in the middle now? Now, do you see the people facing each other, those who saw the urn or the vase? Now, if we have two people facing each other and we have an urn, it's the same picture. Why do we see things differently? We see things differently because of who we are. We have differences. So if you're going to connect with others, we have to realize that they are differences. We see tomatoes, they see tomatoes, so to speak. We see faces, they see an urn. So how do we connect with people when we see things differently? Well, we connect on common ground. If there are 8 things that you and I disagree on, but 2 things we do agree on, what should we talk about? We talk about the 2 things we agree on. Connectors purposely look for common ground in which to connect. That's the first practice of great connectors. But not only that, a second practice is they do the difficult work of keeping it simple. They make it very simple. They don't try to impress people. They try to express what's on their mind, what's in their hearts. They do the hard work to make it simple. I think about a professor or those that just want to impress you with a lot of knowledge and they're just ramming it in. But the real connectors, They understand, I want to make sure you get it. So I'm going to do the hard work on my end to make it simple on your end. Another practice is that they create an experience that everyone can enjoy. Right? They don't just hit us with a lot of useless information or even useful information. They try to present it in such a way that we can receive it. They want to make it an experience. They tell stories about it to reinforce the point. And a fourth practice, they inspire people. Connectors inspire people. They believe in people. They let people know, yes, they can. They try to help folks see a better tomorrow. They make sure people know when they are connecting that they really care about them, that they believe in them. And then the fifth point, the fifth practice. Let's let Colin Powell tell us about it. He's speaking about leadership, but it really talks about connecting as well. You see, leaders and connectors, they live what they communicate. Let's go to Colin.
My name is Amy Wilkinson. I'm a White House Fellow. My question is how you would define the characteristics of effective leadership that allow you to go and be an advocate for good.
Trust. The longer I have been in public service, and the more people have asked me about leadership over the years, leadership ultimately comes down to creating conditions of trust within an organization. Good leaders are people who are trusted by followers. Leaders take organizations past the level that the science of management says is possible. One of my sergeants back in the infantry school at Fort Benning 50 years ago, which is where I learned everything I ever got to learn about leadership, the infantry school. And he said to me one day, he said, "Lieutenant, you'll know you're a good leader. People follow you only out of curiosity." I've never had a better definition. Because what he was saying, and I've seen it experienced in my life since then. What he was saying is they trust you. And you have built up that trust. How did you do it? Clear mission and statement, selfless service. People look to you and they trust you because you're serving selflessly as the leader. You're not self-serving, selflessly. And that you prepare the followers, you train them, give them what they need to get the job done. Don't give them the job if you're not going to give them the resources. And that you're prepared to take risks with them. So they would teach us at the infantry school, no matter how cold it is, Lieutenant, it's never look cold. No matter how hungry you all are, Lieutenant, you must never appear hungry. No matter how terrified you are, Lieutenant, you must never look terrified. Because if you are scared, terrified, hungry, and cold, they will be scared, terrified, hungry, and cold. I've gotten away with that many times in the course of my career by being scared to death, cold, and wanting to go to sleep. No, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's go around this corner, if only out of curiosity. Follow you into the darkest night, down the deepest valley, up the highest hill. Trust you. The essence of leadership is about doing all that the science of management says you can with resources, and taking that extra step, get that spark. And that spark comes from getting people to trust you, that they will follow you, if only out of curiosity. Thank you.
All right. Wanted to end with that. If I can leave you with two things. One is have your character on a firm foundation that people can trust you. If people trust you, then you're able to lead them ethically. And then remembering is always about the other person. If we're going to connect with people, it must be about them. Thank you. Let me turn it over to Geraldine.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Wow, you have a lot of comments here and everything. And thank you, everyone, for participating in the chat. Hey, Mike, there were a couple of questions. I want to see if you have another minute.
Okay.
There was one, a lot of people, again, are really facing a lot of challenges. And this really highlights great leadership and great communication, correct?
Yes.
So this one individual has a direct supervisor who's really a high achiever. So, the bar is set high, right? However, this person is finding some on their team don't have that same motivation, right? They're more of a low achiever, but you all have to work together. So the question is, how do you effectively communicate with a colleague that really doesn't listen or doesn't seem to be engaged, is, constantly distracted?
Very good, very good. And I'm going to share two things. They may seem diametrically opposed, but they're really are not. The first thing is there are some people in the organization that shouldn't be, and I hate saying that, but it's the truth. Because you've heard this saying that a rotten apple can spoil the entire bunch because that rotten apple doesn't belong with that particular bunch, right? So let's be clear that we have to give people permission to find where they fit best. In organizations I've been in, we didn't remove that person from the company, just from the team, and found a place where they fit better that aligned with their personal values. Now that brings me to the second point. And by the way, I'm not saying get rid of the person. It may be that they don't understand the connection. Every team that I've had, every leadership position, I made sure that my entire team understood the overall mission of the organization and how our team contributed to the mission of the organization and how each individual fed into the team mission that fed into the overall organizational mission. And when I did that, it allowed people to take some ownership. So I think when we're communicating, one, we need to make sure they are a good fit with the team. And then secondly, make sure they understand how their contributions matter. Now, if their if their values align with the values of the organization, we have a great opportunity to have a good fit. But if their values are in a misalignment with the organization, then we're going to have trouble. So I think, assuming that the values align, that what we need to do is make sure they understand how their personal contribution contributes to the team that contributes to the overall organizational value or mission, I should say. So hopefully that helps.
No, that was great. I hope the person who asked that question is satisfied with that. I know too. Here at Corporate College, we'll work with people to maybe do a personality assessment, personality index too, to kind of, like you said, you don't want to let that person go. You want to really find the right fit for them. And so there might be another area in the company, or, obviously you want to work with them first and help develop them and make sure, that you've tried those avenues first, but, maybe it does require a different position in the organization. So,
So here's
hey,
a
Mike, go ahead.
yes.
I'm sorry.
No, a quick example. Admin friend of mine who I thought was doing a great thing and gave her a position, putting together a presentation material for a big conference we're having, more responsibility. She hated it and told me about it because she was more of a people person, not a behind the scenes person. So I put her in the wrong spot, and everyone, we no, none of us benefited from it. So I had to realize that her gift is interacting with people. So the next year at the big conference, I made sure she was on the front lines interacting with people, and we all benefited. So having the right people in the right position makes a big difference.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think one last question. Actually, I'm going to combine two, and I think we have time for this one. So I have a couple people asking, again, we're trying to um, work with people who may not be at that level, Mike. So, one person maybe is considered more of like a constant roadblock, or you have another example of a person who's in a leadership role, but um, they how do you effectively show achieve personal positional leader who takes that more of a command and control type of perspective?
Yeah, that's a very difficult one, but it is solvable. I worked with a client and a group of people who said their leader was not doing a good job of leading. They had the position, but the people they were leading were better leaders. They had more influence. So I worked with them to come together to try to help their leaders lead more effectively. So they came together and said, leader such and such, here's what we need to get done. Here's what we're recommending, and we're here to support you to make this happen. So they had to have an open and honest discussion with them. They knew going alone, the leader would not listen, but going collectively and saying that they had the leader's best interest at heart because they wanted the organization to succeed, they were able to go in as a unified team to have that conversation. Now, granted, some are not ready to have that conversation. The leader is not ready to listen. But if you can come together to have it, to really try to improve rather than tear down, you have a greater chance of at least being heard. So hopefully that helps.
Great, great. Well, we are closing out of time, Mike, and I know we could probably go on a lot longer, but on behalf of Corporate College and everyone here on the call, we want to thank you for your presentation today. It was fabulous, and I want to personally thank to everyone who joined us this morning on the call. We really appreciate your participation, was fabulous. So thank you very much. And Mike, you helped me understand really the power of 5 too. What you shared today really helped us all remember the 5 principles, the skills, and the qualities. And, let me play off of that a little bit and say, I think you deserve 5 stars.
Thank you.
Sure, sure. And we just ask everyone to also, while you're remembering that, just remember, corporate college is here to serve you in other needs and capacities as well. We're here with essential learning to help you overcome the challenges you may be facing right now. We understand there's quite a few challenges, and trying to deal with them in a virtual setting only compounds some of that sometimes. To help you, though, our training programs are offered in a virtual classroom setting, and we still have our traditional self-paced online programs. And all of our subject matter experts, like Mike, work with us here to provide you organizational consultation, services, training, and coaching. So when you visit the Corporate College website, you'll find our learnings available in a virtual classroom format, ranging from everything such as our Frontline Leadership Certificate Program, a lot of the leadership and communication courses like Mike talked about today, Lean Six Sigma, even in our healthcare area, the Patient Access Specialist Program. And for groups, we can even arrange something really tailored to your team, to your organization. So please feel free to rewatch today's presentation, share it with your friends, and you can do that by visiting our Corporate College free webinar series page in the next few days, and then clicking on the free webinar series link. And please also keep up with us on our social media and follow us. We really appreciate that. So thank you again for joining us today. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thanks again, Mike. Bye-bye.